Man, I hate to be late. I try and time this to the second so it starts right on the hour. But here we are, 4 seconds late. And happy Friday, happy Pi Day, happy drama. Good afternoon, everybody. My afternoon. I know for some of you, it's late in the evening, early in the morning, all over the place. But Friday has rolled around once again, as it seems to every, I don't know, 6 or 7 days. And I guess this should be grateful. I like kind of doing the show on Friday. It's the end of the week and I can kind of wind down after this and just do a little bit of cleanup for of real work that I have to do. But I have come to hate doing this on Fridays because it wipes out the possibility of a 3-day weekend. I just enjoy this too much. I can't call in sick and say, I'm not well on Friday. I'll be back in Monday, because I just love to do this too much. So I may as well work, right? I hear no sound from myself. Okay, live sound is good. Thank you very much, Tulowit. Right on the 00. The YouTube channel doesn't show seconds. Man, I've been cracking up about all kinds of things today. Sorry about the hat. It's raining here. I'll do that seal clap thing. We've gotten 2 weeks ago, we had a shower, a thunder. What the heck is the term there? I don't know. Just a brief thunderstorm that came over, kicked off the power here. Some of you may remember we recovered shortly. We haven't had any rain since then, and that one really wasn't much. It rained for a half hour, 40 minutes, something like that, and that was it. So Texas is in a quite the state of drought, but we've gotten rain in the last few days. Some yesterday, and a good long steady rain today. That's going to do wonders for Texas and for my yard, I hope, which looks like a cut down hayfield. So things seem to be quieting down out there right now. Let me eyeball here, move the curtain. Yeah, it looks like there's still a little bit of spritzing down there, but it's not much. It's not like it's been all day. So I'll bet that got really quiet when I turned my head away from the mic. Sorry about that. If we have a power failure, I will be back on within 5 minutes. If it takes longer than 5 minutes and I can't come back up because Comcast went down or something like that, then we'll bag it and come back again next Friday. But we're looking good here. All right, let's get rid of you. Let me do a little bit of organizing on my screens. Nobody is working the back channel today, so I can shrink that down. I don't need him. So messages, I backed out on that thing. All right, everything looks pretty good here. Oh, I can do this. There. So let's see who has arrived and joined us for this great day. We don't have a lot of people yet. We never do at the very beginning, and that's okay. Will Shaw checked in. He may or may not be in. He's traveling on the train and got to get off and get in. But hey, good to see you back, Will Shaw. I know you've been out there working on some stuff, and I'm very pleased that I didn't hear any reports that you were involved in the game of bumper cars that your airline experienced of late. Annoyed is back with us. Nice to see you. Andre was here. Oh, there we go. And posted and deleted, and then you must have said something political, huh? Check our Discord channel. It's awesome. I will post the Discord link in short order. That was good. Catherine Morgan is here. Nice to see you as ever. Happy Pi Day. Man, I can't wait for real Pi Day. It's not till March, right? Got to wait till 3/14. Zachary Teal, back in the mix. Nice to see you, my friend. Andre, we've got some rain. Good. You too, huh? Yeah, you could use some. We're in the same boat we are, understand. Dave Rush, says Tulowit. I'm looking away from the screen, trying to decide now that I've identified it, should I read it out loud or should I read it quietly and take my chances? Let's see what happens. Serious question. Do you have any experience with USB dial-up connectors? Do you mean a USB modem? I'm helping someone use their medical billing software that requires a dial-up connection. They got a new PC. I have used USB modems. All they do, there's nothing really special about them. They've got a USB interface, plugs into your USB. And what happens is inside the modem itself, there is a USB to serial converter, just like if you bought, there we go. Well, I'm making a mess over here of my wiring cage, but this, let me hide that part from you and I'll explain it in a second. This is a USB to serial converter cable. So on one end, we've got, in there we go, a USB connector. On the other end, there's a 9-pin serial port connector. Now I've got an adapter on that because I needed a female end for a piece of equipment that I was using. Well, this stuff is basically built inside the modem. So after you plug in that USB modem, then you have to go to your serial port configuration thing in Device Manager and define which COM port that's going to be. There's nothing complicated about it. Now let's think about the content of your message here. Happy to talk to you about it on Discord. I'm helping someone use their medical billing software that requires a dial-up connection. I'm sorry, that's one of those situations where I understand all those words until you put them together in that order. A medical billing system that mandates a dial-in connection is completely incomprehensible to me. In 2022, something is very wrong with what they're doing or what's being interpreted or whatever. But there you go. Abu Bakr al-Hajj. Shukran, my friend. That's shukran. That's thank you. Assalamu alaikum, my friend. There we go. Andre de Goyert. I'm in. Spent a couple days showing Alex around the Netherlands. Oh, good. I just sent a message to Alex on Discord, and I hope she checks in and gets that. Could be a USB modem. That's my hope. Nice, Andre. All right, we're building viewership, but not much going on here. They have to use dial-up to use their software because it was written in 1982 and only supports COM 1 and COM 2 or maybe 3 and 4. I do not understand that. I find that incomprehensible. Well, at any rate, just so I can get the stuff out of the way for record keeping purposes, this is Friday. What is the date? It's August 19th, and you are watching Drama Dave Rush Ask Me Anything. I am the aforementioned Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars, resident Pi specialist, and we get together every Friday at 2 o'clock Central Time to talk about all things technical. We'll talk CompTIA certifications, any kind of tech that's in the news or that's of interest. If I know anything about it, happy to do so. If I don't, I'll either tell you that I don't and send you someplace else, or I'll take it on as a research project and we'll talk about it the next time we get together, or I'll meet you up on Discord, stuff like that. Excuse me. We get together here for about 2 hours. I kill the first hour or so answering questions, talking about tech news, stuff like that. And second hour, we do some kind of a project where it's we typically use a Raspberry Pi to illustrate or create a tool that's useful in studying technology, in particular certifications. Does today's project meet that goal? It's interesting. It solves a technological solution. I started late last night trying to find out if there is an objective that it directly ties to. And then I went down a rabbit hole and I just now remembered, I never did that. So I don't know if this meets any particular CompTIA exam objective, but it certainly meets the broad scope of networking and things like that. So we'll stick with it, see how it goes. We do these AMAs 3 times a week. I do mine on Friday at 2 o'clock. Mike Myers, the Alpha Geek himself, does 2 shows on Monday and on Wednesday at 2 o'clock, this same very place. He sometimes does a particular topical presentation and includes that with general Q&A. Sometimes it's all Q&A. I'm not sure if we're going to do a topic on Monday. He asked me for some information on something to review that he might want to talk about, and he hasn't told me where we are on that. So I don't know. I'll come up with more information by the end of the show, believe it or not. That's how these things go. If you're keeping track, and I don't know why you would, but I do. This is drama number 106. I know, I'm loving this stuff. Did that. All right, well, let's get the other administrative stuff out of the way. It's a light load for the moment. How about over here? So there's a couple of things that I usually post and show slides for. Since nobody's working the back channel, I'll do all my own posting today. So first and foremost, for those of you kind enough to join us here on these AMAs and dramas, we have a special discount program available for you. I've just posted it in the chat feed. If you select one of the 7 areas of certification to study from that's in my post, you can create your own bundle from the TotalSem website of an ebook, not the paper book, but the electronic book, and the Total Tester practice test for that area of study. You put them in your basket, and when you check out, use the code for this week. It's Oz, as in the Wizard of. It's lowercase, contrary to what Mike said, but I made sure that it worked uppercase as well. And that'll give you 50% off of that ebook and that matching topic Total Tester self-created bundle. So enjoy that. There exists, for your usage, a Discord channel called the Unofficial Total Seminars Discord server, UTSD. Yeah. And it was created by one of the guys who frequents here, one of the people who frequents here, and is moderated by a number of the folks. I see at least 2 moderators here. And this was created for the purpose of, we want to talk more after Mike's AMAs. I want to talk about what he talked about. I want to talk about what he said and did on the show. I want to make fun of him and his haircut. And it's expanded like crazy. It's unofficial because it's not been created or operated by anybody at Total Seminars. Several of us are members of that channel. We go and participate just like any other user. And we encourage you to join up. We've got all kinds of wonderful sub forums, and from everything from recipes to help me fix my computer and security and hacking, and come and check it out. There's enough there to pique anybody and everybody's interest. I'm logged in there 24 hours a day. It's a great way if you need to communicate with me directly. If I'm not sleeping, I'm usually sitting in front of this computer, and you just ping me and I will do it. We also have up and running, sitting on top of my handy dandy little desk here, a web server that has all of the documents that I use to create my weekly show, my outlines, my pictures, my PDFs, code, whatever. And you are welcome to join that. It operates from 24 hours a day, Friday through Sunday. And then I shut it down for the week. If you would like it brought up, just contact me, send me an email. I'll put that address up in just a moment, and say when you need it up, and you can download any and all of those documents. There are lots of people who've downloaded my entire library. They've studied it. They know more about these shows than I do because they remember the stuff that I put in there. Usually I create a document. I spend a week or so making up a show and writing it and building documents and whatever. And then once it's done and it's in the archive, I've forgotten it because now it's Sunday night and I got to start working on this week's show. Sometimes I go through the index and say, oh my gosh, I did do a show on that. Let me put some contact information up, and then we'll get back to who's here. Posting my email address and my LinkedIn address. You can contact me via at drushtx@yahoo.com. It's my personal email, or my work email, daveR@totalsem.com, because I work at Total Seminars. I'm also posting my LinkedIn profile link if you would like to link with me or follow me. I try to do at least one post per week on upcoming shows. Sometimes I do technology posts. Hey, here's an interesting trick or trap or technique that's not worth building a show around. All kinds of stuff. Repost links from Cyber and whatever. So by all means, check me out over there. I'm always looking to build. If you ask to link with me or follow me, I'm not going to say no. That's it. All right, anything else going on there? Nothing that I care enough to share yet. All right, who else turned up here? I saw some other names and faces. Hey, Will Shaw is in. Will Shaw. Oh, wait, let's go back here. A couple more people before Will got in there. Sling Buzz is in. Happy Friday. It is a happy Friday. I had a new alliterative that I posted this morning about it. Fabulous Friday. Today is Fabulous Friday. Yes, Andre. You know, sometimes I just have to come up with words to fill space. All right, Will Shaw is with us. Settled. We can now start drama. Will Shaw. So I have a conundrum with specific respect to you. I am thinking, and I thought real hard about this when I created today's contest, about denying you participation in, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Participate in today's if you feel like it. However, I'm going to request that you pass. This is an area where you are an expert in and will absolutely come up with the answer first. And, you know, we try and give a chance to everybody. I'll help you win one sometime in the future, or help you out in some other way. But please give it a little time, let some time pass, and let some other people try to come up with today's answer before you post your authoritative and absolutely correct answer. I think I started down the road of a point and either didn't finish it or forgot that I finished it. So I'm wearing a hat today because of the darkness from the rain outside. So I had to turn my ring light up a lot brighter, and it's just blinding me. So forgive me, I got to kind of keep my eyes shaded a little bit. And baseball cap was the only way to do that of all the hats that I have. A cowboy hat seemed a little ostentatious, don't you think? Oh yeah, and the other thing, I did this way on purpose because I want to see what's on camera here and what's being blocked. This, I don't care. So I haven't done concert shirts up on the wall in a while, and the missus and I went to a concert last Saturday. It was her birthday, and it was a really good concert. 3 bands that, if you're of a certain age, you would know. And so she got a shirt from one of them. I got a shirt from one of them. We didn't have shirts from any of the 3 bands that were there. And so we decided to wear these shirts. This is from our old, very popular hometown regional band. The lead singer, the gentleman who's MSB, Michael Stanley Band, passed away about a year or so ago. A great loss to all Clevelanders, Ohioans, Michigan folks. And so we thought we would wear that just to, you know, since we're 1,500 miles away or so, maybe not quite that far, 1,200 from Cleveland, just to see what other kind of Clevelanders would spot it and get dragged out of the woodwork. And we were not disappointed. We had lots of people come up and, oh man, Michael Stanley, and we miss him, we're from Cleveland. And so we met a few Clevelanders that way. Next week and the following week, I'll put up shirts from 2 of the 3 bands, excuse me, hiccups, that we saw last Saturday. Man, what a good show. There was only one band that I was interested in. I think there was only one band that my wife was interested in, a totally different one. But man, we had such a good time, and cough up $100 to watch 3 bands for a few hours. Worth it, just worth it. Excuse me. All right. If I ping you, Dave Rush, will be heard on the stream. I got my volume down. It might be. Everybody says it's really loud when you do that, though, so let's avoid it unless necessary. Sling Buzz, about to set up my Raspberry Pi Labs this weekend. Pi 3B running VPN, 400 on Ubuntu, and 8 gig on Kali. Cool. Don't need 8 gig on Kali, but fine. Kali runs absolutely great on the 3B. Okay, so does a VPN. I wouldn't do both because obviously one's working for a living, the other one. So yeah, if you got nothing else to lose. Okay, yeah. Given what you have and what you're doing, that sounds like a good approach. I like. I haven't super scrolled. I got away with that. See, Will Shaw, copy that. Don't need total tester right now anyways, thank goodness. Hey, there's not many of you here. I'm going to give you a secret. Am I? Nah, do it next week. Under the Goyer, nothing wrong with cowboy hats. You're absolutely right. Just, I'm so squoze in on my set here. Cowboy hat suddenly takes up a massive amount of room. No such thing as too much pie. Dead on, Zachary. Also have a Pi 2W. All right, the 2W wouldn't be a bad way to go for the VPN. If you don't have a 3B plus, if you have a true 3B, that's only 100 megabit connection. Same for the, well, the 2Ws is, it's only got a 54 megabit connection because it's Wi-Fi. Yeah, keep it as is. But there are definitely things you can do with that 2W that's a lot of fun. All right, that catches me up on Questiones's. I hope Alex is there sitting by your side, looking over your shoulder, or you're looking over her shoulder while she drives your keyboard, Andre. And if she's still around and you showed around, hi, Alex. Miss you. Can't wait to see you again on Discord. What do we got here? It's 1 gig Pi 3. So it's no, all starting with the 3s, they all had a gig. Everything after 2 has 1 gig, and the 4s, of course, are 1, 2, 4, and 8. So now just because it has a gig doesn't make it a plus. What makes it a plus is the 1 GB, 1 gigabit. If it's 1 gigabyte of RAM, it could be B or B plus. If it's 1 gigabit, then it's B plus. You're exactly right. Daniel Klein is here. I'm also tuning in from the subreddits, suburbs of New York City. Will Shaw, we're neighbors. Kind of. Will's actually up closer to Syracuse. We had a base up there for one of the airlines I was with, and that was a punishment to get for the people who lived up there and based there. Wonderful. For those who commuted and wound up there, it was called Syracuse, and for very good reason. Sorry, I shouldn't get rid of all that ice. Not here anymore. Dropped her off at a vacation address in Amsterdam. She'll try to join us again soon. Very good. Well, I'm glad you got to see her in person. I think you may be the first of the old guard to see her live and in person. All right, let's see what's going on here in my notes then. Let me do this. Let me get these slides out of the way. It's like this. All right, so a couple slides. I've already kind of mentioned some of these. I just want to make sure I cover them all. So ways to contact me, daveR@totalsem.com, corporate address, or personal address, drushtx@yahoo. There's other contact information on here. If you're watching this on the archive, just pause it and write down what you need, or copy it, or screenshot it, or whatever. In order to access My server with the archive documents, it's pyrsquare.zapto.org. Notice that there is no S on the HTTPS. And if your browser automatically adds an S to all addresses, and a lot of them do that now, you're going to have to go in and edit the S out. Today's Q&A special, 50% off the bundle that you create from an ebook and Total Tester Bunder. What a mistake gonna make. Man, I wish Zach was here. He would get that joke. Anyways, so you can pick from any of the 7 topics here, A+, Net+, Sec+, whatever else is on there. And when you check out, put those both in your basket. And when you check out, use the code AWES. It's good through this Sunday night, midnight my time, give or take, something like that. But don't wait till Sunday. Do it now. The Discord link, I posted that on the chat feed. So just scroll back up on the chat feed if you need it. Or you could pause the screen and remember that this is case sensitive, and that'll get you over to Discord. We'll hold off on this one. This is our tutorial source for today's project. All right, that gets all that caught up. Just reading notes, going past them, make sure I got everything here. Today's project. Do I need a Raspberry Pi to do today's project, Dave? No. You will need, if you just want to learn this and learn the command, a single Linux box. Any flavor you like, any Debian distro, any Red Hat distro, it all works the same. If you want to, what we're doing is syncing directories. Here's a master directory. That's a terrible term in 2022, but so be it. Whatever I do to this directory, I want to happen in another directory. That directory might be on this same host, or it might be on some remote host out on the internet somewhere. So you need 2 hosts, and it doesn't matter if you're using Raspberry Pis or a Raspberry Pi and something else, or 2 different something else's. So this is not a Raspberry Pi specific project. It's a Linux project today. We're just using Raspberry Pis because I got some, and because it's a really inexpensive way to learn all kinds of things, not just Linux, computing technology in general, software, protocols, concepts. That's why we're here. That's why I love these things so much. All right, so I got my port forwarding completed. That's cool. So where we been and where are we going? Last week, we checked out BusyBox. It's an alternative collection of small-sized command line utilities. It's mostly the same command line utilities we use every day, from ls to cp to mv to arp and arping, and 400 different commands in there. But BusyBox took all those commands and they pulled out the switches that most people will never use. And so they were able to shrink this thing up. They took 400 commands and shrunk them down into a single little repository package that's only 50 megabytes compared to the gigabytes that the big full fat versions that we use are. And so you can use this as an alternative to your existing command line utilities. They can augment your existing command line utilities. And where BusyBox really fits well is you take out the commands that are unnecessary for a particular project, and you put what's left of BusyBox into all the usual thing is an IoT device, right? So you don't use Linux on your IoT thermostat, your smart thermostat. However, when it gets updated, when there's a firmware update, when it needs to be administered and things like that, there's a little built-in version of Linux in there, and it's got a little copy of BusyBox in there with the commands necessary to do maintenance and updates and upgrades and things like that. And there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of other devices like that. Routers, Soho routers, they have some flavor of Linux in there and a copy of BusyBox. So BusyBox, very well suited for embedded Linux distros. Where are we going today? We're going to use the Rsync program. It's a program that efficiently duplicates the contents of directories. So when we say efficiently, what we're saying is let's say I make a directory and subdirectory and a whole bunch of files here, and I want to duplicate that there. Well, it's easy to do. If it's on the same computer, I will go and start by manually creating a directory over there. Got to do that no matter what. And then I'll use the CP command and copy everything from here to there. If it's not on the same host, it's on a different host, and I'll do the same thing with SCP. But now let's say that we add one file here to this directory. Well, if I can remember what it is and where it goes, I can CP it from here to there and do the same thing from here. How about if I update one? How about if I delete one? Well, CP is no good there. CP can't delete from there. I got to delete it from here, and then I got to delete it from there. And use SCP. No, it can't use SCP. It doesn't delete either. It's a manual process. So what Rsync does is it looks at the contents of this directory, and it looks at the contents of that directory and says, this file is new, I'll copy it over. This file that's over here doesn't exist anymore in the master, so I'll delete it from here. 10 new files have been added. I'll just copy those 10 new files. I don't need to recopy all the other original files. That's the efficiency of Rsync. So we'll get into the whole details of that as show progresses. I'm going to post the URL from the tutorial that I leveraged heavily on this one to make today's class presentation, whatever you want to call this thing. Now I've edited it significantly to meet our requirements and do some other things. So you could follow that tutorial directly, but there's going to be a little bit of differences. So if you want my copy of it, just go to pyrsquare.zapto.org. Remember, HTTP, not HTTPS, and download today's download stuff. And in the main outline file, the big PDF with today's title on it, whatever it is, you'll see the script that I've written and the instructions that I've written, and it works for what we're going to do today. Yeah, that's the ticket. I see other people coming in there. I'll get to that in just a minute. Let me get rid of this thing. We did the contact page. We did PyRSquare, news, tricks, and techniques. I have no interesting news, tricks, or techniques. I ran across one or two things that, but not that worth showing. So cool. I take care of my outline up until the point that we hold some kind of giveaway contest. We'll do that in about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe less. It's a little bit of time to get through today's project, and I want to show you a lot of things. So we may do the contest just a little bit earlier. We got a good collection of folks now. Everybody's here and ready to get fired up. So let's catch up on the chat, see what's going on here. All right, so I left off at 2:23, where Alex is at her vacation in Amsterdam. Andre, it's fun meeting her. Who's next? Zach isn't that far away either. Yeah, and sadly, you probably saw on Discord channel, Zach may have a little time on his hands right now. So who knows? Maybe a quick hop over the channel. Will Shaw talking to Daniel Klein, not his usual haunt, but is it his parents for work? Most of the time, VM will work just fine for today's projects. Absolutely true. Some projects are absolutely and totally dedicated. You got to do them on a Raspberry. They were written for operation on a Raspberry, but many of our projects are good for any other distro, however you choose to install them on a VM, on dedicated hardware. Take that old laptop and resurrect it with its 2 gigs of RAM. Inexpensive. When did you order the last Pi? I ordered a Pi. I did a deal with a guy last week for an 8 gig Pi. And believe me, I paid a lot more than retail for this used Pi. But as you say, they are rare as hen's teeth right now, and I needed one for the classroom. So I bit the bullet. It must be me. Past 10:02. Big round of applause. It must be me. Congratulations. You are now A+ certified and will be for the next 3 years. People ask all the time, wait a minute, the exam is going to retire. Will I lose my certification? No, once you're certified, I was thinking of it this way. Let's say you went to high school and you got a diploma, and the summer after you graduated, your high school closed. It got bulldozed. It was involved in a tragic catastrophe with a tornado, whatever. You're still a graduate. You still have your diploma. It still counts. Same thing here. All right, lots of people offering up congratulations. Well done. That's great. Let's see some more people doing that. Way to go. You've set the, you're leading the path, my friend. Well done. All right, well, let's get the contesto out of the way. I have a fun contest today. This is a Linux command contest. It does come from the new A+ 1102 objectives. It's a command in those list of objectives. So we are competing for 90 days free access to excuse me, Total Tester Online. That's our practice test engine and questions, and you get to pick from any of the practice test topics that we have available: A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, AWS. I think we got pen test in there. I don't know what all we have. There's a massive number to pick from, and I will post at the end when somebody wins this thing, how to claim your winnings. Let me get that thing ready to go. Okay, that's ready. And let me get my other page ready to track some lucky winner. Okay, now we got that. All right, so the deal here is I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to type in the one-word command that answers the question. Spelling counts because you're typing in a Linux command. If you type it in wrong in Linux, it's not going to work. So it's going to be the same thing here. You got to type in the command correctly. You get one shot at this. Okay, when you type in your answer and you hit the enter key, one time, one word, that was your effort. So if you're not sure, neither is anybody else. This is a somewhat challenging one. So you got a moment or two to look it up. Right. But, you know, there's some sharpshooter out there ready, and there's strategies. There's strategies to this. I'll take a chance. I'm 90% sure I'm right. I got to be first, so I'll put it in first. I love this thing. I love playing in the background when Mike asks a question. How quick can I come up with an answer? I don't type them in, but I'm not always right. He had 2 possible answers to his Wednesday question, and I massively dispute what he said was a second acceptable answer. I didn't argue with him about it, and I'm not going to, but I think it's one of those convoluted that, well, yeah, that's true if this and that and this. All right, have I vamped for enough time now, getting everybody ready for this thing? All right, so we're gonna hold a contest now. I'm gonna ask you a question. No, I'm not gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna put the question up, beg your pardon, on the screen. You can read it and type your answer into the YouTube chat feed. Remember, don't panic if you don't see your answer first. It's the order that I see them in that wins. And if you've won too many times, we've had a lot of people who've won too frequently. You're not going to win. How's that go? But go ahead and try. And we'll go with that. All right, now we get the question up here. Okay, that's where the question page is. Und then we get ready to share it like so. All right, are you ready? Here is the question. I'm going to read it and post it at the same time. In Debian-based distros, such as Debian, Raspberry Pi OS, Ubuntu, Kali, and Mint, we use the Apt-Get or the apt command to install and remove program packages. What is the equivalent command in Red Hat-based distros, such as Red Hat, Fedora, Rocky, and Alma Linux? Okay, what is the Red Hat equivalent command to the Debian Apt-Get or apt command? One word command for your answer. Okay, no answer. I'm seeing answers appear. I don't see a right answer yet, so that's okay. It's a hard one, but this one is in the objectives of 1102. Might even be 1101, but it's in the 1100 objectives. So you got to know this one. So it's a good thing. I see no right answers yet. Oh, man. I know, Will. You knew that one before I read half the question. And I don't think that's a hint. Will uses a Red Hat based distro, so he knows this command like the back of his hand. I knew it was Hans. It's okay. I'll keep it up. I want somebody to get this one right. Several people have posted apt. No, we're looking for the equivalent of apt that's used in Red Hat based distributions. So, and look how long it's taken. Somebody take the time to go research it. Use your favorite search engine. I use Quant, QWANT.com. I don't use that other G1. I see people guessing and they're including pass, and maybe your pass is valid and maybe it's not. I don't know if that's the right thing. Not a U, Andre. QWANT. Pseudo. And you don't get two guesses, Andre. Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting answer. Nothing yet. Keep cooking. Not the one we're looking for. I got to go look up something while you're doing what you're doing there. Keep posting. We got 35 people here, give or take. What is the Red Hat equivalent command to the Debian apt or apt-get command? It's used to install and remove application packages. And I'm going to go stand by. Forgive my silence. I'm looking something up, not one of the answers, something else that I need to check administratively. This would be the right page to do that on. One. Okay. I can live with that. Don't want to win at the moment anyways. Finishing up my school first. Okay. Okay, so I got a challenge here. We have a winner. Will Shaughnessy is a winner. There are two people with right answers. I'm going to go with the one person who has never won a question. I apologize. There was somebody who got it right first. And forgive me, but I'm going to award this one. The answer, let me switch over here to the answer, is yum. It's the yum command. Sudo yum install package name, sudo yum remove. It's very similar to apt, but it has some differences as well. And Vegas Brent, you were right. And it's been a while since you've won. However, not long enough since Sling Buzz has never won. So I'm going to give this one to Sling Buzz. And take another shot at it next week if you need one. So congratulations, Sling Buzz. Let me post the information here on how to claim your prize. I love that name. When you claim your prize in the email that you send to me, also include where you came up with Sling Buzz, because I just have all kinds of backstories in my mind about where that name could have come from. And they're all fun. And I'm sure you have a very fun thing. All right. So I've just posted up there how to claim your prize. And I'm going to verbalize it right here, right now. You're going to send an email to me at my company address, daveR@totalsem.com. In the body of that email, you must put 4 completely spelled out pieces of information. Your YouTube name, Sling Buzz, same case as you use on here. Your real name, first name and last name. Your email address that you want me to send your access credentials to, and which practice test you would like and I need to know the exam number that you would be taking for that. So if it's, for instance, Network Plus, the answer here would be N10-008. If it was Security Plus, it would be SY0601, whatever. You get the idea? All right, so send me an email with those 4 little factoids in it. Please do that by end of business today. I will submit it at end of day today. And the nice folks who handle this stuff come in, and it's the first thing that they do on Monday morning is they handle all these things and they email everybody who won with their access codes and all that good stuff. So congratulations, Sling Buzz. Well done. Cool. All right, see what's up here. Thank you for passing, Will Shaw. I know that it was just, you were at your house yelling, yum, 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 yum at your computer. And thank you for tolerating that, Vegas Brent. I will make it up to you in future, but I really want to kind of spread some of this stuff around. I want to win, but can't. Well, look, Arib, you've missed twice. That's okay. We do this 3 times a week. Sooner or later, everybody wins. Don't give up. Come back and catch Mike's show on Monday and Wednesday. Catch me again on Friday. What'll happen is sooner or later, you'll come up with the right answer along with the 3 other people that have already won one. And the same thing will happen for you. We will turn away the previous winners and say, Arib has not won. And so we're going to pick him. Another check-in from a Catherine at 2:43. Catherine Legrand, hola gang, just got here. Cool. I haven't taken attendance yet, so you've made it on time. Yummy. Zach Teal's below in party hats. Well, next time, yes. And Sling Buzz will do. Excited. Been studying A+ and Network Plus. Excellent. So now, okay, so I'll tell you, if you request either of the A+, N10 220 1001 or 1002, you will get them both. That's the only time that we bundle those. That package is a single package, all the 1001 and 1002 questions. If you request Network Plus, of course, the only thing we got out there is N10-008. Smiles from It Must Be Me. I just have a deadline for 1002 exam, so unfortunately not much time left for me. Look, Arib, if don't wait to get it free. It's already really expensive. Don't keep, you've had 3 days to win and haven't won yet. That's 3 days that's taking away from what could be valuable time. The package is not that expensive. Go to totalsem.com and look at our practice tests, our total testers, and check out the prices. I think you'll say, oh my gosh, that's totally worth it. I want that practice test right now. By the way, these practice tests are online. You don't download them, so you got to have an internet connection, and you're off and running. Right. I'm taking that as strong research, Zachary Teal. Well, where are we at here? It's 48. That's a good time. I want to get started on the project here. We're all caught up on questions. This week's project: synchronize the contents of 2 directories so that their contents will always match. We're going to use the rsync command, which is built into just about every Linux distro that I'm aware of. It is secure because it uses SSH port 22 to ensure that transfers between hosts are encrypted and secure. So I'm going to repost the link to the tutorial that I borrowed heavily from. I should have put the author's name on here. He did a very nice job writing this. And apologies, author, if and when you see this, I will credit you next time I talk the show, and I will send you a note of gratitude. You did a really good write-up. Tutorial for today. Bingo. Okay, so that's reposted. And again, his write-up doesn't exactly match mine. Some different IP addresses and different servers and a couple other different things, but substantially the same. Just kind of reworked ours a little bit. So the goal here is to synchronize the contents of 2 directories. The 2 directories can be on the same host. They can be on different hosts. When they're on different hosts, we consider one local and the other remote. The host can be on a virtual machine, It could be a virtual private server, could be a container, could be a dedicated physical host. Source and destinations can be on the same host, again, within a VM, within a virtual private server, within dedicated hosts, whatever, or on the same LAN or across routers on a WAN. So why? Why do I want to have two directories whose contents are duplicated, synchronized? Well, there's a lot of reasons. One of them is backup. Rsync has a specific facility in it that I'll get to at the very end of this presentation that allows you to back up certain data from your computer. I'll look a little bit at that in a couple of moments, and then once more again at the end. So we can do specific data. We can do a broad spectrum of data. I got a still there, got hair. Had something weird hanging down. Or you can even back up an entire system. It's great for updating cloud accessible data. And I'll give you a specific handful of examples on that. So it might be data from or for a database, right? I'm updating, I have some master database set of records out there on a remote location that's accessible from a web app. And maybe that web app allows us to update information there. And maybe I've got a whole bunch of data that I've accumulated here that I want to send up to that computer. So I can do that just by putting it in my local directory that I'm using to sync with that remote directory. So it could be data for a database, could be folders full of data from different users, different departments. This process can be totally automated. We're going to do it all manual today, but I'll show you how to automate it in one or two different ways. And so doing this provides us, especially if we're talking about, I don't know, a corporate server in-house or a cloud-based server externally, makes this data accessible to a broad audience. So I like this one. How about there's a website that I run on some web hosting site out there, and it exists just for my friends and family who want to see our pictures, right? I'm Rick Steves. I'm traveling the world and taking videos and images, and I want them sent up to that website every night. I do updates every day. So cool. As long as I copy them here into my local folder and I have the automated process, or I choose to do it manually, every night, all of the stuff that I put in this local folder will get sent up to the appropriate directory of that web server. Maybe that server is a traditional cloud server. So again, any files that I put here will be saved up to that cloud storage system and accessible to whoever I allow. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just want master copies or backup copies of all my files on that cloud service. Maybe it's a shared cloud storage service. That's really cool for picture frames, right? Picture frames can be set up, electronic picture frames, to call out to a file repository and daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, download any new pictures. So as long as I'm continuously adding pictures here to my local thing, every night they get synced up to the web-based one, to the cloud-based one. And then all my friends and relatives who have electronic picture frames, their systems go out and they call for that repository and get updated pictures all the time. Again, kind of a pictures demo, but you get the idea. For businesses, how about the same thing? How about you have field people who are out there doing sales, doing service, doing whatever. And so each night, the records that they store on their local machine, we can automate that so that they get sent up to this central repository. Maybe it's web-based, maybe it's a corporate server that they access through a VPN or something like that. So they don't have to think about it. They don't have to do manual uploads. They just handle everything on their local machine. And every night, as long as it's turned on and plugged in, all those files get sent up to an appropriate directory on that server for handling by corporate. So lots of possibilities here, way above and beyond that. And all of this is done very easily with this Rsync utility. Now, I want to mention that Rsync has some similarities to the copy command, CP, but it has a couple more additions, some more power. For instance, CP can't copy files to or from remote sites. CP is only good for some disk on this host to some disk on this host. CP can't look at the contents of this directory, compare it with the contents of that directory and say, there's a mismatch. There's 5 new files in here that aren't in there, and there's some deleted files in here that are in there. He says, I don't know what to do with that. Just tell me what to copy, and I'll copy, I'll overwrite, I'll do whatever. So no good. A closer command is the SCP command, which is used to do remote copies. It uses RCP. Sorry, it uses port 22 SSH services, so it's secure, but again, it can't delete from over there. It can't sync files. It doesn't recognize mismatched files by attributes. It'll overwrite any file with the same name, which may or may not be something we want to do. There's no exclusions, so there's nothing that does everything that Rsync does. That's why it exists as its own standardized thing. It has some great powerful options. It can do comparisons based on sizes, names, other attributes. It can exclude specific things. It can delete, whatever it takes to match up and customize the contents of 2 different directories in 2 different places. All right, so I got a slide to show you. If we were to use Rsync to do backups and restores. So open share Rsync. There we go. Yeah, it's gone. The slide that I, oh, wait a minute, it's not gone. It might not be gone. There we go. Okay, I got a slide. What I've got here is a list of directories that commonly should be backed up and what you would find in them, why it's important to back them up. So here we're going to use Rsync to perform backups and restores. The Etsy directory, that's got logs in it and configuration files. Home directories, of course, we're updating all the time. So rather than back up the entire home directory, we could only specify particular subdirectories like get data or documents or things like that. So you don't have to back up everything in a home directory, or maybe you do. That's one of the nice things. It's your choice. Everything in the var www directory, that's where your website pages and configurations are kept. Local mail directories, good things to back up. Local databases, MySQLs. All right, so those are the kinds of things that I might want to consider if I'm doing selective backups, not entire system backups. And there's a full article on this, if you would like to check it out, how to do backups using Cron tab, which we're going to talk about in short order here. So let me post this. On the YouTube chat, Control V, there we go. Use Rsync to backup. Link. Okay, that fits. All right, that takes care of that. And as long as we're here, I do want to oh, it's in a different thing. Okay. We'll get back to that. So I'm not going to read all that. I have a lot more documentation on this, much of which I took from that Cube backup site. So you can go read that whole site, or you can just, again, download my stuff from pyrsquare.zapto.org and get a good summary of what's on there. Now, if you want to automate this process and make it really easy on yourself, you're going to pick the 2 hosts that are involved in synchronization. You're going to make sure that they both have SSH servers running on them, SSHD, and then You don't want to use password logins in the real world, because if you do, when you try to automate the process, this machine says, hey, I'm going to rsync my contents to that machine using account such and such. And that machine will says, great, what's the password for account such and such? And you got to be there to type it in. And we are going to do that here today for my demos. The right thing to do is to do a public key exchange between the two sites for their SSH processes. And I'm not going to teach you how to do that today. I have done that. We did a show on that. There we go. So I'm going to put that link up here. Make sure that fits. Surely does. Okay, so we did a drama back on December 18th of 2020, how to do public SSH exchanges. And the link to that presentation is now in the YouTube chat. Huzzah. So I didn't do a public key exchange here because of the way I'm set up here, and because of the frequent changes that I make to these machines, I could lose access and be a real pain to recover. Let me show you how our systems are set up today to ultimately do what we're going to do. So I got a little graphic to share. That's a good one. Share this, and we're off. All right, so this is Dave Rush's house. This is my router that connects to the internet via my internet service provider. It has a single public address, which I've just invented here, 7.8.9.10. Cool. And then for today's purposes, I have 3 servers running in here. This one's not a server. This is the machine that I'm going to use as my driver to do this. I'm going to do some demonstrations where I've got a primary directory here and a secondary directory here to illustrate some concepts. We're going to sync from this folder to this folder. Name of that host is called Drama. And since it's on my local network, it's drama.local. Then the server that you guys connect to, nope, I'm not using that one. Yeah, okay. This is my server, my web server that you connect to Friday through Sunday and on request. The actual host name is pi_r². The domain name here in my house is pi_r².local, and there's his private IP address. We won't be using that at all. It's here to illustrate something really cool that I want to teach you, or it'll show you at least. This is my remote web-based server. Web-based? It's here in your house, Dave. You would think so, but here we go. So his name is Pi Web Control. And what it is, under normal circumstances, it's my backup web server. If this one goes down, this is my backup. This is where I do my development for any new pages before they get put on here. I put them on here and I test them. And when they're all good, then I take those copies and put them on here. His local IP address is 141. So notice this, I got a 140 and a 141, sheer coincidence, but here's the magic. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. So in order for you to access my web server, I've done 2 things. One, I have engaged the services of a DDNS server somewhere out on the web. It's noip.com is their site. And it says, okay, I'm going to assign a DNS name to this IP address, 7.8.9.10, and the name of that DNS is pi_r².zapto.org or .net, whatever it is. Okay, so anytime somebody out on the internet tries to go to pi_r².zapto.org, they hit this DNS server. The DNS server says, you'll find that at 7.8.9.10, a packet gets created and goes over here. Now, normally what I have is just this part of it, cut off everything to the left of this. And this is how you get to my server all the time. You go using a browser you go to 7.8.9.10, your browser says, I'm a port 80 process. It builds port 80 into the packet. And so when my router sees this, it says, okay, port 80 is port forwarded to be delivered to this host, 192.168.1.250. Now I could have set up an Rsync destination on here and port forwarded 22 to it. But I was worried that people would get creative in here and they would access my system. So I said, nah, I tell you what, I'm going to set up another port forward in here. Anytime somebody goes to pyrsquare.zapto.org port 22, it gets directed here. The router says, oh, okay, port 22 is being redirected over here. And this is where I got my remote directory. So cool. So I could have 50 different computers in here, 100 different computers in here. Everyone has a different port forward. So if somebody uses SSH and tries to go to, my DDNS name, sorry, pyrsquare, thank you, .zapto.org. It goes over here. It comes from an SSH utility, a terminal emulator, and so it would get redirected over here. So that's the way I'm set up right now. So this is doing its own thing. It's sitting here being a web server for you to access my download files and whatever other junk I put on there. And then for my own purposes, I've got a port 22 process and Rsync going on over here. I've got it going on over here. So I'm going to save, instead of syncing from .140 to .141, I'm going to sync from .140 to pyrsquare.zapto.org. It's going to go out on the net. It's going to find this DDNS server. It's going to get directed to 7.8.9.10. It's a port 22 process. So it's going to go over here. Long way around, but my point here is to illustrate that you have no idea where this thing is. It could be on some hosting site. It could be over at Tulowit's house, whatever. So it's web accessible. And people who are going to access this thing as downloading pictures, downloading business documents, whatever, they'll use whatever service that I've created on here to provide that. I might have a web service on here. I might have an FTP service, whatever. A generic, that web service, I think would be the normal way. So that's what my setup looks like today, just for you to follow along. All right, so here we go. What is Rsync? How does it work? And everything I'm going to do here comes mostly from that tutorial that I posted, with some changes to make it fit my setup. So first thing I need to do is to establish a PuTTY session with that local host. So let's get PuTTY going here. PuTTY, my local host is a pi@. Is that drama.local? Let's yeah, because the other one is pi web control. Drama.local. I know you can't see it. Stand by. Okay, that's drama. Let me make sure that drama is the one that I need to be connected to. Yes. All right, so now I can share this witches. Share needs this and this and this. There we go. All right, so I'm sitting here at the terminal, logged into this server called Drama. We take a look at what's in there. There's not much in there. Okay, just making sure I'm right. So the first thing we're going to do is set up something that we can make shareable, right? So if we follow the instructions on that original guy's tutorial, he says to do a CD tilde. I'm already there. I could also just do CD. I'm already there. But if I were in some other folder, then I would need either of those two commands, either CD that takes me back to my home folder, or CD tilde, that also takes me to my home folder. All right, so here I am in my handy dandy home folder. And then we're going to make two directories. All right, I'm keeping his names. When I first wrote this, I changed the names of the directories that he used, but then I rewrote it and said, well, some things I guess should be in sync. So, okay, we're going to make dir1. Let's check it out. And there's dir1, he's all lowercase. We'll do it again, dir2. Okay, there's dir1 and dir2. And not surprisingly, they are empty right now. So let's put some files in dir1. One of the ways to create a file is to use the touch command. We say, stop it. There is this horrible thing that I wind up doing whenever I demo with PuTTY. I got two different files open at the same time, and they are problematic. All right, so I'm going to use the touch command, and I'm going to say, I want you to create some files in dir1, and I want them to be called file. And I want to make a bunch of them. So I'm going to put some numbers behind them. And here's one of the things that if you use the online tutorial and my tutorial, mine's better. His says 1.100. The problem with that is you're going to get some files that have a single digit ending, file 1, file 2, file 3 through file 9. Then you're going to get file 10 and 11. And so 10 through 99 are going to have 2 digits, and then 100 is going to have 3 digits. And the problem is when you list them, one gets listed first, then 10, then 100, and then 11 and 12 through, you get the idea, it's a real pain. Then 2 gets listed and 21. And so what I changed is I made it 0, 1 through 100, and I don't need 100 files. 50 is going to be fine. So the names of the file will be file 01 through file 50. Enter. dir1, touch, dir1, file 01 ... 50. I typo that somewhere. There we go. Okay, I had some typo on the other one. All right, so let's do an ls minus L. We shouldn't see any changes. But now if we do ls of dir1, there they all are, and they're ordered nice and neatly. Notice that they stack them vertically, 1 through 5, 6 through 10, and so forth. All right, but it's a real mess had we done it the other way. And when you go looking for a particular file, it could be buried way over here. We're going to be messing around later with file 7, and using his methodology didn't work very well. Okay, so we got this. Now let's check out dir2 just to make sure everything's copacetic. ls dir2, it's still nice and shiny and empty. How am I doing on time here? 13 after. Okay. So if I want to sync the contents of these two files, I would use the rsync command. And the general syntax of rsync is rsync followed by any flags, followed by the source location. Now, since dir1 is right below me, I don't have to do a whole path. I can just say dir1, followed by the destination. It's on the same host, so I would just say dir2. Now, I don't want to hit the enter key here because there's something a little bit funky. What this command will accomplish, assuming I use some reasonable flags here, which I'll explain, this would take the dir1 directory and put a copy of the entire directory and subdirectory or subfiles under dir2. So what we would have is under dir2, there would be dir1, and then in that dir1 would be these 50 files. If I just want the 50 files in dir1 to appear in dir2, we add a backslash, / to the source file. Now R means recursive. That means if there's any subdirectories in there and files in them, sync those up as well. So let's do it. Enter. Okay, it happened. ls -l of dir1 and ls -l of dir2. It's exactly the same. I'm going to get rid of all the files in dir2. rm dir2 /file star. That's all I need. ls dir2. Okay, it's empty. ls dir1. It's still got the 50 files in there. Cool. Now, so we used the -r, which is normal. However, there are certain attributes on certain files that you might sometimes wish to preserve. In that case, instead of using -r, we use -a. -a preserves attributes. It preserves something that we haven't talked about yet. I mentioned last week, and I'm going to do a show on this in the next couple of months. It preserves what are called symbolic links or symlinks, and it has a built-in -r. Since I don't have any symbolic links or any special attributes, this is going to work exactly the same as using -r. Did it happen? ls ls dir2. Sure did. Would have been cool to see it happen, right? Okay, I can do that. Let me get rid of all the files in dir2. rm dir2 file star. Okay, it's empty. How about we add to the flags that we're using P for progress. Now I can watch it happen. Oops, there's another command that I got to add to that. I'll get to it. I guess that's what I get for jumping ahead. So let's see what's in this. Make sure dir2 is cool. Okay, dir2 has the same stuff as dir1. They are in sync. Talked about the use of the trailing slash and did that. We test our process. Now let's say that you want to run the command, but you're not sure if you've got the flags right, if you've got the directories right. You want to do a dry run without actually accomplishing anything. So, all right, I'm going to clean out dir2 again. rm dir2 file star. Okay. So I'm going to run the same command, but I'm going to add a new flag to it. I'm going to say rsync dir1 -a for recursive and preserve attributes, v for verbose output, and you can do these in an order. And then here's the cool one. It's n, which means nothing. Don't actually do anything. I just want to see what you would show if you did it. And then we keep going here from source dir1, its contents, to destination dir2. And hit the big key. He says, this is what I would do. I would send an incremental file list. There's nothing in dir2. I'm going to make it totally sync up with what's in dir1. These are the files that I would send, the order that I would send them in, the 908 bytes. You get it. So you get a summary. But did it actually happen? ls dir2 It did not. There's nothing in the dir2. So, and you add -n or the n attribute to the rsync command, nothing really happens. It's just a dry run. So you get to see what would happen. So let's do it now for real. Get rid of the n. We'll keep the verbose listing and watch it happen. Okay, it happened. Stop it. ls dir2. Now let's do something cool here. Let's look at the magic, part of the magic of rsync. How about I run the same command, rsync AV contents of dir1 to dir2, A for recursive, V for verbose output. He says, you know what? I looked at all the files in dir1 and I looked at all the files in dir2. Everything is a perfect match. There's no extra ones in here. There's no mismatches. So I'm not copying anything. Slick, huh? And that's something that copy can't do. It says, you tell me to copy, I'm going to copy. I'm going to overwrite anything that's in there. So very slick. That's part of the magic of rsync. Checking my notes here. We're going to sync directly. Okay, so that's great if we want to sync to directories on the same host. We just do a path to the source and a path to the destination and run rsync with any appropriate flags. I've done that directory. Okay, now I've got a directory created in that cloud-based system that's actually sitting here on top of my desk. And I'm going to set up another putty session and share it with you so we can go check back and forth. Putty. So I got a different account on that. Stand by, just typing in stuff. There we go. And just not the standard password for that. All right, so let me change folders, stop share here. And I'm going to share the destination, what's going to be the remote destination folder, and show you what's in there right now. Okay, so this is a different system. We were over on Pi at Pi Drama or Drama. Now we're over on Pi Web Control. And there's a lot more stuff in here. And I have a folder in here that I've created in my home folder called Sync. That's going to be my destination folder on this server for whatever we sync up. Let's take a look and see what's in there. ls sync. It's empty. Cool. Stop that share. Let's go back to the original host. We'll come back and visit that and check out results now and again as we need to. All right, so this time we're going to start playing around with syncing up the contents of the folder on this source with the sync folder on that server that's out in the cloud that we just visited, Pi Web Control. Check on my notes, see what I'm going to do first. So I've got an SSH server running over there. That's all I need. So this time we're going to copy the directory and its contents into sync. So the syntax is generally the same. We start with rsync. I'm going to do it recursively. I'll use the -a and I'll do it verbose so I can see that. I tell you what, let's do an N first. A and V. The source is dir1, and I'm not going to put the backslash on it this time. I'm just going to say I want dir1 and everything down from it. The destination, here's where it would be real world important to have exchanged keys, because then it wouldn't prompt me for a password. It says, okay, I got your key, you got my key. We'll just do this. But Dave was an idiot and didn't set up keys. So before anything happens here, it's going to prompt me for a password. And I'm going to use the DDNS name. I'm going to say pyrsquare.zapto.org. And the destination is home folder /sync. Okay, here we go. If this works, two things are going to happen. One, it's going to prompt me for a password. And two, nothing's going to happen because we use the N flag. Yes, I want to continue because I didn't do things. Okay, give me the password over there because Dave didn't give me your key. And okay, here's what I would do. I would copy over the directory called dir1, and then in that dir1 directory, I would do all this stuff. But I did N, it was a dry run, so nothing happened. Now, what we're doing when we actually do this is called a push. When you rsync from a local machine to a remote machine, it's called a push. You can also do a pull. Take the contents of that and make your local folder sync to the remote contents. So pushes and pulls, that's a term that doesn't apply when we're doing same machine to same machine. I guess conceptually it could, but that's not the way it works. Checking my notes here. All right, let's do an actual run of that. It's the same thing. We're just going to pull the N. Buzz, buzz, grind, grind. Give me the password. All right. And now let's go over and check out what happened in that destination. Stop sharing here. Pick this, share it. Sorry about throat clearing. It's the way it goes. All right, so there's that sync folder. Now we take a look in it, ls sync. And because we didn't include the slash on our source file, it said, I'm just going to copy the directory. So I got to look a little further, ls sync dir1, and there's the 50 files. All right, we'll come back to this. Share this back. Okay. Now let's say that these files are regular files. They're not compressed, because you can copy compressed files and the system recognizes that. But let's say that I want to save a little bandwidth and a little time when copying the files over. So I could do this again. And add another flag to the game here called Z. And what Z does is before it sends the file from the local destination to the remote destination, it will zip them. And so what goes over the wire, excuse me, is a compressed version of the file, but when it gets saved over there, it will be decompressed. So I've saved a lot of bandwidth and a lot of transfer space. Now, if these files are already compressed, it won't bother. He looks at them and says, oh, that's a gzip file or some other compressed file format. And he says, I'm not going to waste my time, or I'll try, but it'll be a waste since it's already compressed. So that's cool. Let me get rid of the files over there. I'm not going to show it to you. I'm just going to do this here real quick. cd sync rm minus rf. Oh, I need sudo. I shouldn't. dir1. Yeah, okay. All right, so the sync folder there is empty again. I'm going to run this command, and this time we'll compress it. Let's have a little fun with it. And let's add one more flag. I did the P flag earlier. It should have been a capital P. P shows progress, and it shows what it does, what it's called partials. Partials means if this process interrupts interrupted, you can run it again and it'll pick up where it left off and get you all synced up. So let's watch the progress bar on this one. And we're zipping them before they get sent over. Give me the password. Okay. So the progress bar happens so fast because there's 0-byte files. Okay, it's 100%. But if they were big files, we would see these things tick up. All right. So I sent 2,500 bytes of zipped up 0-byte files instead of 970 bytes. We went through all that hassle of compressing the 0-byte files, but you get the idea. So let me check and make sure. Looks like what it did. Yeah, okay, everything looks good there. dir1. Okay, good. All the files are there. So we can show progress, but there was no big enough files in here to show that progress. Now I want to show you something. Let me check and see if this is what I want to show you next. We did this before, but just to do it again for fun, how about I do the same command again? Exactly the same, no changes here. Put the password in. Nothing happens because again, Rsync does comparisons on either end of the system and says, oh, okay, everything is a match. I don't need to send anything. There's nothing to send. You are in sync. Now let's say we add some new files to this one. This is something that's not in that other tutorial. I came up with this. So here on my local folder, I'm going to touch dir1 new file. 01 through 10. Let's just add 10 new files here. And now we'll ls dir1 and take a look at what's in there. Whoops. So here's all my original file 01 through file 50, and then here's my 10 new files. So now let's sync again. Rsync from dir1 here, include the subfolder, to this destination. And I'm not going to do an N. Let's do an N. Let's see what would happen without actually doing it. He says, here's what I would do. I will copy these 10 files, but everything else is already in sync. He didn't do anything. It was a dry run. So, all right, let's do it. Let's make them sync up. We're almost done. We're at the end here. So here goes the 10 new files, new file 01 through new file 10. There was no other files that got copied. They're already good. They're in sync. They have the same names and same sizes and all that other good stuff. So nice. Now, how about getting rid of some? So let's go down here into dir1 and let's get rid of a couple files. I don't like this file 07 and I don't like new file 07. So I'm going to get rid of that. RM file 07 and rm new file 07. Go back up a level. So I'm going to run the same command that we've done before. It says whatever flags make me happy. I don't think I need to zip them. I don't even think I want to do the progress, but I want to add a new flag, and this one's a double dash. And this says if there are any deletions necessary to make the folders in sync, do them. And here, let's get a dry run and see what he's going to do. He said, what I would do is I would delete new file 07 from dir1, and I would delete file 07 from dir1. Dry run, he didn't do it. So, okay, let's do it. We'll get rid of the dry run part. And he's done it. Shall we prove it? Of course we shall. All right, so here we are back on the web-based one. A lot of different stuff in here. We'll take a look in sync. We'll go into sync. There's dir1. And CD into dir1. Here's file 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No file 7. Goes straight to 8. New file 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No 7. Straight to 8. So that's what the syncing is all about. You can always add that delete. Now, you can even get really specific here. And here's where I'm not going to do a lot of show and tell, a little bit, but I'm not going to do much more here. I just want to talk about a couple of things. But let's stay with our original page so I can show you the syntax of some things. Okay, we're back on drama right now. Always good whenever you're going to do a delete to do a dry run first. Make sure you're not accidentally deleting more than you think you're planning on, right? So always add that in. There is another thing that you can do with the deletions. You can exclude deletions. For instance, let's say, exclude. Let me get the syntax right on this. It's a double dash. I think it's equals. Yeah, equals. Stand by. I bumped something as I ever and always do. Okay, there we go. And then you put in a file name or a pattern of file names here that you want to exclude. So you say exclude equals, well, maybe I don't want to delete new file 07, but I do want to delete file 7. So I would say exactly that, new file 07. And you could do whole things. Let's say there was a whole bunch of deleted files here, all the ones that start with new file, and I got rid of them here locally, but I don't want to get rid of them on my destination. So I could say new file star. So file 07 would be deleted, but all of the local deleted new files would not be deleted from on there. So you can get very creative with these. And, oh, how am I going to remember all this stuff comes the next question, I hope. Well, we automate this in several methods. One, you get good at it and you type it in, you get used to it. Number two, write scripts. Excuse me. And number three, either put them as raw commands in Cron tab. I did a presentation on Cron tab. And I think I got a link for that up here somewhere. I'll find it when I get there. Yeah, there it is. So I'm not going to show you how to do cron tab today, but you can put a script, call for a script in cron tab, or you could write native commands in cron tab. And cron tab allows you to perform repetitive actions on every minute, every X minutes, every hour, every X hours, every day, every X days, every month. You get the idea. So here's posted into the chat feed, the episode where we introduced cron tab. So that's the basics of this game. Our whole point here is I've got this local folder, and it's easy for me to administer a local folder compared to administering copying files up and copying files down and deleting files manually on some remote folder. Just create a model, a master, a primary, whatever you want to call it, folder here, and then use the rsync command to duplicate it to another folder, to a remote folder, a folder on a remote server. There is a specific command that you can use to do backups. And let me show you that. Not going to run him back up here because I didn't set anything up to do it, but I want to make sure you see it. So it's rsync -a with deletions, and now do backup. And backup means check the attributes. Make sure that if there's newer files over there than here locally, don't overwrite them. Specify the directory and path to the source stuff you want to back up and a path to the destination. And backup says, okay, I'll do everything that I always do, but I'll make sure that I don't overwrite newer files over there with older files over here. Okay, a little cleanup on my system so I can talk with you and finish things up here. How we doing here? It's 42. Great. Think, do I need that? No, I can exit out of there. If I'm wrong, I'll reconnect to it. All right, so we automate it with cron tab or with scripts. And again, with scripts and with cron tab, you can do this for your users, your traveling service people, your traveling sales people. Hey, when you're all done at the end of the day, type in run me, type in send report, whatever the command you make it as your script, as your shell, and it goes. Or again, you automate that for them. You write the script, save it on their system, and then you update their cron tab so that every night at midnight or whatever makes you happy, it runs that script and syncs their contents. And the way I would do that probably is each field user has their own folder on the sync server. And so when they sync, they won't hurt anybody else's stuff. They'll only update their own stuff. And that way, every night, every day, corporate can pull down all of the information that got sent up the night before for master copies and backups and whatever analysis they do on it and order entry and all that good stuff. So Rsync, built into all Linux utilities, distros, allows you to take a local directory, could even be a remote directory, by the way, this remote directory to that remote directory, this local directory to this local to that remote to this local. It's totally flexible in all those ways. Okay, did that. So Rsync streamlines file transfers over network connections, adds robustness to that with directory syncing. It's powerful, it's flexible, it's great for different file level operations. Administrators, anybody pursuing Linux plus, you got to know Rsync, you got to use it. And that finishes the presentation for today. So let me see what's happened on the chat for all that time. Wow, we got a lot of views today compared to usual. Nice. Thanks, you all. Yeah, I super scrolled, and did I highlight that? Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Wasn't a lot going on here. All right, I'm picking up at 248, where it must be me. Thanks, Andre, for advice. Xerxes has bought Total Tester. I think we're still talking about Total Tester back then. Zachary Teal, plan to take Net Plus later, then eventually Sec Plus when the time is right. Sounds good. Yeah, you really don't need A plus to pursue Sec Plus. If you're not looking for a frontline tier 1 PC support job, you don't need A plus. It's a good foundation. It will help you understand Net Plus. But if your goal is security for many people, you could start with Net Plus and do just fine. All right, my posts were 249 and 258, the tutorial for today, the Rsync backup, and then again at 301, the tutorial, my tutorial on how to do private key sharing. Zaid Natshah. Assalamu alaikum, my friend. I don't read Arabic, but I lived over in Saudi for a couple of years, so I picked up a little bit of the language. Andre, can't get into my pie hole. Something with a password. Let's find. I think you're trolling, my friend. Can I bypass iCloud with DNS? So that has popped up on feeds a lot lately. Some Apple utilities are hard coding their own DNS into there, and you can't access the pie hole or the traditional DNS. I don't have the answer to that because I don't have enough Apple experience. What I'm going to recommend that you do is, let me get the link for this. I'm going to send you over to the pie hole support people, and it's also public. There's a Reddit over there. The pie hole people do their support on a particular Reddit. Not you, you goober. Shrink down out of that. I need the big one. There it is. Okay, and let's get this folder. All right, shrink that. So Zaid, I want you to go, I'm going to say this to Zaid at Zaid. See this Reddit forum. That gets discussed there occasionally, and you can certainly post there and ask your specific question. They will have better answers than I do. Thank you for the touch this pun. And even Will Shaw says, too Tullowitish. I see a cron job appropriate to automate this procedure, says Will Shaw. Exactly right. How am I going to remember all this? You're going to watch it. You're going to read my notes. You're going to download from pirsquare.zapto.org. Okay, got back into Pi-hole, the passhole with the password without the typo. Okay. Here, tell you what, let me get some the daily links reposted again, since we got good amount of time left in the show. We'll do these in random order. So my server with my notes and all the stuff from today, you can pick up Rachar at the PyRSquare archive server, we call that. Then here's the Discord invitation. If you're not playing over on Discord with us, come on over and play Discord with us. We got all kinds of subforums. I say we, they have all kinds of subforums that I take advantage of and participate in. The specials for today uses the passcode Oz. It's good through Sunday night. And two more, my email address and my LinkedIn profile URL. All right, anything else that you need, just go to zapto.org, pirsquare.zapto.org, and download today's notes and you can get everything up from that. All I got to do one other quickie thing here, a little administrative subtask. Go over here, click this, backspace on that, touch this, sign in on that, and pull that and apply. Okay, that's done. Any other good notes that I have to do? Yeah, but they're coming up. So let's just get that page lined up and ready to go. Oh man, did I fix? Yes, I fixed. I don't think I fixed that. Oh well. All right, that's a good place to leave. What else is cooking here? Zachary Teal falsely compliments me with excellent content. Thank you. I try and find something that's either helpful or interesting. And again, I apologize. I didn't look up to see what if there's a direct correlation. I don't think rsync is a command in 11.0x. How long would that take me to check? About 15 seconds. And I got time. It's only 50. So I will do that. We go over here. This one, that's a good place to go. Check out all the objectives of all the classes. Oh, this is a great way to do it. This is a quicker way to do it. I never thought about this. Not banners, you idiot. Try that again. CompTIA. God, you're an idiot. So much for 15 seconds. I learned something. I've learned a lot of things about Windows all the time. Sometimes great suggestions come from you and other people. Sometimes I just experiment with something and it works or run across it. But here are two really useful things that I've come up with. Stand by, I'm starting this. Okay, there's the objectives. And let's see if rsync is in any of these objectives. S1. So I've got 20 PDFs here from all the objectives of all of the major CompTIA objectives, course objectives, exam objectives. You don't have to bring them all up and do a search on any of them. You can just use the Windows Explorer search utility, and it can read PDFs. And no, rsync is all over all the Linux Plus courses and in common ports. That means you got to memorize it, but you don't have to know it. That is from an objective, but it's not a named objective in 10.0x, 11.0x, N10007 or N10008, SY050601 or 501. So this is not a protocol that you have to know in order to get through CompTIA. That's one thing I learned. You can search through PDFs using the Windows Explorer, the File Explorer utility. And the other thing that I've learned, if you're looking for a file on a Windows machine, you can use the search utility, the same search utility that you use to look for applications. Just put in a file name. If you know the file name or pretty close to it, it will search for you. That's become a real blessing for me. All right, I'm missing some stuff here. I got to open my now find my Pi hole. Okay, you're doing an update on your Pi hole. It's updating right now. It's 0. It'll take a little while. It's cool. I updated mine the other day. I let it get behind by a couple of months. I usually wait a couple of months after a Pi hole update comes out before I update it, because there's always problems right off the bat with initial releases. All right, that's the last of the questions here, last of comments, last of the show. Hope you had a good time. I had a good time making this last night. I experimented with it earlier this week, early in the week. In fact, Monday, I think I did some of it. And my experiments were all about being able to do that multiple port forwarding on my router to different hosts in here, and then making sure that I could rsync to the DDNS addresses. Everything else I kind of took on faith. I've used rsync for many years, so I wasn't surprised there was nothing new there. The trick, of course, was to take that existing tutorial, revise it so that it works for our presentation. I made some additions and some changes, but they're pretty similar. Andre says, my Pi-hole's been running for a few months as well, so an update was in order, you bet. For some of you who are new to Pi-hole, let me show you the Pi-hole interface real quick, just so I can kill 1 or 2 more minutes. Let's see, where's a good, here it is. All right, let's fire up Pi-hole and then share it. Pi-hole. .local /admin. Okay. All right, we'll do it by IP address. I've done this, but I got the name wrong, I guess. 192.168.1.201 whack admin. Okay, it's working. Now let me share that with you. So for those of you who aren't familiar, Pi-hole is a DNS server that you run in your home or in your office instead of using your ISP's DNS server or the Google public server. Every request goes first to here, and then there are block lists in here. So if there are calls from a web page to pull down an ad and include that in the web page or something like that, Pi-hole says, not going to provide you the answer to that, and you don't get ads anymore. This gets rid of about 90–95% of ads. Use a good ad blocker or a good ad blocking browser. I don't get ads. I just don't get ads. So if you're running, wow, this just happened. If you're running Pi-hole and you need an update, I just updated mine in the last 3 or 4 days, you will see on any of these lines where there are updates available. So FTL, the faster than light, that's a sub process in here we're not going to get into. There's an update available. That's just happened in the last 3 or 4 days. I would not run this myself for at least 2 weeks before I do the update on here. But this can be updated, Pi-hole itself, FTL can be updated, and the web interface. And it says to install updates, you got to run Pi-hole up. And what you have to do is establish an SSH connection to your Pi-hole to do that. Let me log in here real quick. I'll show for a minute or so some of the things you can see with Pi-hole and do with Pi-hole. There's all kinds of different skins for this, by the way. So right now on my block list, I got 134,000 blocked sites. There are some people who run millions. Over here, green ones were requests that got let through. Red ones were blocked requests. Here's all of my machines that have made calls to my Pi-hole server in the last 24 hours. Middle of the night, nothing going on. Sometimes you'll see in the middle of the night some great big monstrous spike. Some IoT devices phoning home, and since it's not getting answers from home because they may be blocked by this list, they just keep calling and calling and calling. Sometimes you'll see IoT devices that will run 20,000 requests an hour. All right, I'm not going to do all this stuff. You can see it. It's cool stuff. And I got a Pi-hole episode. It hasn't changed on how you install it. So just look through the archives and you'll find out where we've done that, and you can install a Pi-hole yourself. All right, well, let's wind things up then. I've had a lot of fun. It is Friday. I got to get prepared for a gig tomorrow at PA system, lights, and a fogger for some community party, something like that. Where's my shutdown notes? Okay, things we've got to know. Upcoming shows. I still got the astrophotography show coming up. I don't know when, but it's coming up. That's the only one that's firm. I haven't picked anything for next week. Mike's show on Monday. I don't know if he's going to do a special on repair command line utilities like BCD edit and boot rec and things like that, or he's just going to do a regular Q&A. We'll all find out together on Monday. So the wind up then, as ever and always, many thanks to Mike Myers and everybody at Total Seminars and at National Cyber Group who so generously provide us with time and resources to get together like this. my most heartfelt thanks goes to you and everyone who comes to these shows to participate. This has been Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars and resident Pi specialist, wishing you a great weekend. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. If at all possible, call or visit your parents. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. And so with that, good night. I will pop into Discord for a couple of minutes, and I'll be at the AMAs next week. Until then, I am out of here.